everyone, welcome to episode 116 of the arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I've been knitting and spinning on for the past week. Today, it is Saturday, May 24th, and I'm excited because this weekend is a 3-day weekend for me, and so I'm hoping that means a lot of knitting. But yeah, let's get right into it. I just have WIPs to talk about this week. I have no spinning. But let's get into what I'm wearing today. It is not a finished object. It was, it's a finished object, but not a recently finished object. I finished this, I'm pretty sure it was last year, and I'm wearing a jacket over it, because it's still cold. But I am wearing the Stripey Turtle Tank by Emily Curtis, my friend Emily. The yarn I used for this top is all from Woolberry, so the main color for this is a berry cashmere base, a fingering weight base from Woolberry in the colorway Gilbert Blythe. It is a dark brown. And then I used 4 mini skeins, all from the Anne of Green Gables collection. And I will stand up so you can see the stripe colors better, but I feel like this is a really cute color combo, and I'm really happy with it. I actually have 2 stripy turtle tanks, and they all used yarn from the Woolberry Anne of Green Gables collection. And one is like a white pastel one, and then there's this like darker brown one, and so I think it's really fun. It's like all the colors from the same collection, but I split them out so that one's light and one's dark, and so it's like different vibes and different color story, and I think that's really fun. And I know I'm not wearing like a knitted cardigan, but this is how I styled it today, with a light green jacket thing just to go out, because this is a tank. There's no sleeves on it, and my arms get cold. Like, we went to like Costco and did some grocery shopping today, so I get cold in those grocery stores. So yeah, I think this was the perfect combo, and so I'm just gonna wear it like this on the podcast. I am hoping, I have big goals, big dreams, and not anyway, what I'm trying to say is I look at this jacket and I'm like, I feel like it'd be really cool to sew something like this, but that's me saying I would like to sew something like this without having like any experience in sewing something like this, and it seems like a very difficult project, and I've only sewn like more simple like dresses and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's kind of giving me inspiration. I'm hoping one day I can act on that inspiration and start sewing some really cool things. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this year is the year. But anyway, not to sew something like this, but just sewing in general, just a little bit more. But yeah, okay, that's what I'm wearing today. Oh, I knit the Stripey Turtle Tank. I knit a size 3. I used US 3 needles, 3.25 millimeter needles, and final measurements 31 inches in circumference, and I have about 1 inch of positive ease on it. And it fits really nice, and it was perfect for today's weather, and I'm really happy with it. I'm glad to start kind of like breaking out and wearing my warmer weather knits around this time of year, and so yeah, pretty excited about that. Okay, let's get into what I think is the most exciting part about today's podcast. Is I feel like it's been so long, maybe not, but it feels like it's been a while since I've had a finished object, and maybe like been a while since I've had like a large project finished object, and today I have my crochet project, the Bespoke Cardigan. It is a pattern by Nikki, Stitch Story. I finally finished it. It is actually, I washed it last night, and I was hoping that it would be dry by today, but it is not, so I'm going to hold it up very carefully, but this cardigan is done. It is made with the Rerum Natura Gilliat yarn in the colorway Cacao. Beautiful dark brown color, and I am so happy with it. It's still a little damp. This yarn is like a worsted weight yarn, and so it's going to take a little bit more time, I feel like, to finish drying, but I did try it on, and it fits great. I'm so happy with it. I'm so excited for it to be dry so that I can wear it. I think it's going to be really comfortable. I made size 1. I used a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook to make this. I did size down my crochet hook because I crochet with a very large gauge, it seems, compared to others. But yeah, it is done. I'm hoping that next week I can wear it and talk about it some more and share more about it with you all. But what I did, my progress on this week, was that I seamed all of the pieces together, as you can see, because it was all crocheted in flat in pieces. So you've never actually seen what it looks like even partially put together, but you can see that it is a V-neck cardigan. And then once I seamed all of the pieces together, which included, the sleeves, had to seam them together, and then I had to sew the back, like the shoulders with the back to the front, and also the sides. So it kind of seemed like a lot, and putting the sleeves onto the body, which kind of seemed like a lot of sewing, or like seaming together. But because this gauge is really big compared to knitting, also because this is crocheted, even though the crochet stitch is so cool, it looks like a 1x1 rib. The gauge is large, and so when you're seaming them together, it's really easy because it's easy to see the stitches, and there's not actually that many of them. And then once that was all done, you go back and you crochet on the collar or the button band, and I think it looks so nice and neat. It looks great. It looks like a double knit button band, which I think is really cool. And there are buttonholes here, and they look so nice and clean and neat. I put 4 buttonholes on this. Can you see it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 right here. And so I do still need to sew on buttons, but I can show it to you. I'm going to put these ones on, and I think it will be perfect. Oops. I got these buttons when I was at Rose City Yarn Crawl, and I think that they would look so great. I feel like the color on them, let me try and focus the camera. I feel like the color on them matches the cardigan color super nicely, and I love the design. It's so fun. I really love these because I don't know if have any square shaped buttons on anything that I have made, and so that's really fun, and I love the little kind of like etching in it, and that it has a color, and so I'm super excited to attach them to this, but I do need to wait for this to dry. But overall, I think that this shape is wonderful. I just love it. I love it. It's going to have a lot of positive ease. It is on the more cropped side lengthwise, but I think because it is has quite a bit of ease, it's still going to drape really nicely, and I'm so happy with it. So yeah, also I love smelling my knits because I use a wool wash that smells really nice. I basically have all Sewrella wool washes, and I think her scents are they're definitely up my alley. Like, I think we probably share similar scent likes, and so I just have a whole bunch of Sewrella wool wash, and I love using them on my knits because it makes them smell so good, and I love smelling. It just smells like a new finished object, if you know what I mean, and so that's super, super fun. I put the cardigan back down now so that I don't distort it too much while it's still a little bit damp. But yeah, I'm very, very happy. I'm very pleased with the outcome. I actually was a little bit worried because after I finished seaming it, actually what I did was, before I seamed all the pieces together, I did wash and block them first because I wanted everything to kind of lay pretty flat for the seaming, because I was nervous about it because I've never crocheted a cardigan, never crocheted something that I need to seam like that, like in the garment before, and so I just wanted everything, all the pieces to lay as flat and nice as possible. Seamed it all together. I crocheted the button band, and then I tried it on, of course, as one does, and the sleeves were coming up pretty short, like they were like here on me, and I was like really nervous because I was like, I think I'm on gauge, and I have been, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Obviously, gauge can change. I actually did notice one of my front sections was a little bit longer than the other. It's probably just because maybe I was a little more stressed, or maybe I was more relaxed making one of the other pieces. I think my crochet gauge is really, it varies, and so the hook size almost kind of doesn't matter, it seems like. But I was like, okay, I'm going to block it one more time, just as a whole piece, which I think is probably the smart move anyway. And yeah, I did also, when I blocked it this time, after it was, you know, all put together, I did kind of make sure I stretched out the arms a little bit, like not crazy, but I did just like make sure to give it a good laying down flat and kind of like tugging it a little bit tighter, just to see if I can block out some of that length. And so this time I tried it on, and it's the perfect length of sleeve, and so I'm so relieved, and I just can't wait for this to dry so I can try it on, because I think paired with this yarn, which is the Gilliat yarn, which I love, and I've used it in other knitting projects before, it's just so great. I think that it's going to be like a really like workhorse kind of cardigan, and I'm really excited for that. Like, I've been wanting a cardigan like that for a while. I feel like, I don't know, I'm very particular about my cardigans. I've knit a lot of them, but they all kind of have, I think I've said in the past, there's some cardigans that have gotten really, really close to being like my perfect cardigan, but they all have something about it that I'm like, oh, I wish it had this aspect to it. So yeah, I don't feel like that about a lot of my sweaters. Like, I love most of my sweaters, but I don't know what it is about cardigans. I wear my cardigans, my knitted cardigans, and now I have a crocheted cardigan. So we'll see how it all kind of like holds up and how it feels to wear. So yeah, that was a very kind of long ramble about that. I'm going to definitely talk more about this cardigan next week when it's fully dried. I'll wear it, I'll have the buttons on it, and I'll have a chance to hopefully wear it a bit throughout the week so I can talk about how it wears and all of that. So yeah, so that's the Bespoke cardigan, my one finished object of the week. Let's move on to my WIPs, my works in progress. I will start off with this one. This is my Market Henley by Claire Jackson. And I'm actually very close to getting this one done, I think. Let me hold it up. Here it is. It really is looking more like a sweater now. It has a lot more body on it. And of course the sleeves are done too. And I did do the neck band on it from before too. So that always helps to make it look more like a sweater. You can see my stitch marker here, my cute little stitch marker. So I worked about this much of the body this week, and I think that I'm actually very close, or maybe like just about at the length that the pattern says to start working on the hem, which will add another inch. But I think that I want this to be more full length. I do not want it to be cropped or even like sort of cropped. I do want it to be pretty full length on me, and so I'm going to just keep knitting on it for maybe like, I'll probably keep checking at like 1 inch or ½ inch intervals to see how I feel. Also, I do believe that the stitch pattern on this will block out a lot larger, and so I do have to keep that in mind. But I do have, this is my third skein of this yarn, and I have quite a bit of it, and so I do, I'm not going to run out, but I do want to like try to use up more of it so I have less leftovers. So that is the plan right now. I'm just going to keep working on the body and measuring it every so often. But yeah, speaking of yarn, the yarn I'm using is Explore Knits Earthy Sock Base, which is the non-superwash fingering weight yarn in the colorway in Bloom, and it's just such a nice yarn. The way that the color comes out on this is just so watercolory and so pretty, and the yarn feels so nice. I think it's going to feel super amazing in this sweater. This is my first time using that base from Explore Knits, and so I am really looking forward to seeing how it all works up and blocks and dries and feels once it's all done. But yeah, this is what it's looking like. The drape is looking really great. Again, that stitch texture just looks so good. It looks really good on camera. And yeah, I do think that the one thing that this is supposed to have buttons on it up here, and I don't know if I have buttons I like for this currently, like that I own, and so I would have to probably look for some, and so it could be that I just wear this without buttons for a while. But yeah, I want to keep an eye out for some cute buttons. But yeah, so this is my quick progress update on that. It's been fun to work on because, again, it's just the body. The stitch pattern is already memorized, and so I don't have to think about it too much. But the only thing I do have to think about now is just the length and when to stop. I don't want to get too carried away and make it too long. Oh, and then I am knitting the size 36 inches circumference of this, and I'm using US 5 needles, 3.75 millimeter needles to knit that. So yeah, so that's my update on my Mark at Henley. Okay, I worked just a little bit on this, but I did just want to show it to you anyway. Even though it probably looks exactly the same. Did not make that much more progress on this from the last time. This is my Salt and Timber shawl by Lindsey Fowler. It is all squished up on my needles right now, so it probably doesn't look the prettiest. But here's my stitch marker. Right now, I am just, probably just worked maybe like an inch. I am just working on the ribbing edge right now. So maybe just now that I have a little bit more of it knitted up, that you can see the ribbed edge. It is a 3x2 ribbing for the border of the shawl, and I do need to knit 3 inches of this, 3 inches from the shortest section here, and so I might only just have 1 inch right now. But I'm so close. I'm so close to finishing this, and so I would love to finish this soon. It's just that there's a lot of stitches on here, and so each row now feels like it takes forever. But yeah, I am working on it. I'm working on it a little bit at a time so that I don't forget about it. The yarn I'm using for this is Sewrella yarn Classic Sock in the colorway Theater. You can see this is the rest of my second skein. I only have 2 skeins of this, and I'm not concerned at all. Should be good. And this is a one size shawl pattern, and I'm using US 6 needles, 5 millimeter needles to knit this. I just think it's a really fun design. It was a bit of a pain to work on though during this tree section because, you know, you have to look at a chart, or at least, you know, I didn't make the effort to try to memorize it, even though it probably you could if you're really good at reading your knitting and stuff like that, but I didn't, so I had to look at a chart. But now I don't have to look at a chart, so it does make it a little bit like that much easier to work on it if I wanted to, or you know, when I want to, because then I don't have to look at a chart. I can just knit. I just have to make sure I don't mess up the ribbing pattern. The only thing about the ribbing is, like, because it is 3x2 and it's not like an even number or the same number between the knit and the purl stitches, I need to make sure, like, if I'm not looking at my knitting and working on it, that I remember, am I going like knit 3, purl 2, or am I doing a purl 3, knit 2? You know, so I just need to look down occasionally, a bit more often than sometimes I would if I'm like watching TV and knitting. But yeah, but that's my Salt and Timber shawl. Okay, I have made, I think, good progress on my May socks. I know it is the end of May now. I have maybe like a week more to get these socks done if I want to like stay on my monthly schedule for my monthly socks. But I think I'm doing all right. This is my second side, so you know I am well into the halfway mark. Well, the halfway mark was finishing the first one, so I'm in pretty good shape here. These are worked cuff down, and so this was my stitch marker from last week. I just finished this much, and so this week I actually finished the rest of the leg of the sock, and then I did the heel, the heel flap and gusset. I did the heel turn, like I did the whole heel. I did all of the decreases for the gusset here, and so now I just need to work straight in the pattern until I work on the toe. And so I'm feeling, again, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. I would really, really love to have these done in the month of May. I've started to think about my June socks and what pattern I want to do. And I'm kind of drawing a blank, but I still have some time, I guess, to think about it. But yeah, these were a really fun, these were fun socks to work on. This is I don't think I said the pattern name. These are the Monday Sunday socks by Sari and Nordlund. And the yarn I use is some yarn that I hand dyed myself. It's this green color. And the stitch pattern on this is just like all over cables. It is a repeating cable pattern all throughout. I don't know if I noted this in some previous podcast episodes. I probably did, but the one interesting thing that I found about Sari Nordlund's sock patterns compared to some other people's is that she doesn't really have that many sizes, and sometimes not even, it's just one size sock. And so for this one, it kind of is, I think, just one size for the sock, so it's just one set of instructions with, you know, one set of stitch counts, right? It says 2 sizes because I am knitting size 1. But I think that the second size is like use a DK weight yarn and follow the exact same instructions and you'll get like a bigger yarn. Either DK or sport weight or something like that, which I find very interesting. I did get this pattern some time ago. So yeah, I do know, I think some of her book, her book sock patterns have like a couple more sizes, maybe 2 or 3. So I don't know if maybe she like made that change somewhat recently, but I guess luckily for me, the stitch count pretty much works for me. I think that this is a 64 stitches around, and I think I knit a lot tighter now also. I think before 64. Some of her sock patterns in the past that I've knit were way too big for me, but it could also have been a gauge issue. I feel like I have socks that I really like the fit, but they are like, because they're on the tighter side, that are like 58 or something stitches. I have done a lot of 60 stitches for, you know, the cast on for socks, but yeah, I use my favorite sock needles, size needles to use is US 1. I just use that for all of my socks, unless they're DK weight socks. But all my finger and weight socks, I use a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle to knit, and I think it works out great. I like the gauge that I get with it. It feels pretty like tight and compact, the stitches, and I enjoy it. So this was great. Again, because it's all cables, I do have to look at a chart whenever I'm working on these, and so they do just work up slower than if they were a very simple stitch pattern, either just plain stockinette or like a rib or something like that, but the results are always so pretty. I feel like with cabled socks, I really, really like cabled socks. They just kind of feel like they take forever, and doing the cables without a cable needle with sock, like in sock knitting, because the stitches are so small, always gets me a little, like I have to get into the zone because I want to make sure that I don't drop all the stitches when I do it. But I've been pretty successful so far. Not too bad. If I drop a stitch, it's pretty easy to pick up. I just need to be slow, don't rush it, and then it's all okay. So yeah, so that's my progress on my May socks. All right, I have 2 more. Is that it? I just have 2 more projects to talk about. I want to talk about this one. This is my Metropolitan Pullover it's a pattern by Tori. I am knitting this as part of our PKW Flock U Knitalong that I'm doing with Meghan and Emily, my friends in my knitting group. We're doing Tori U knits for Flock. And that's the idea, and I think the kind of idea was like summer knits by Tori U, but I'm going pullover because part of the reason is because this pattern is on my Make 9 for this year, and I really realized that I am like kind of behind on my Make 9 for this year. And so I was like, I'm going to take this opportunity to knit this by Tori U. And, you know, it might, like, if there's, like, AC which I think there is in the venue for flock. This would be nice to wear over, because I get cold very easily, so can do. And if I have time, I would love to cast on another Tori U pattern, but this is the one I'm starting with. You'll see I have the body on hold now. I think last time, actually maybe this is my stitch marker. I probably worked this much of the body from last time, and then you can maybe see that I started a sleeve. I didn't realize that there were two different sleeve options. Did I say that what this pattern is? It's a Metropolitan Pullover by Tori U. I might have said that. But anyway, I didn't realize that there were two sleeve options for this. One is a tapered sleeve, and so that just means that there's decreases for the sleeve. And the other one is a straight sleeve, and so you pick up a certain amount of stitches for, for the sleeve when you start working on it, and then you just don't decrease at all until you're ready to do the wrist part of it. So I am deciding to do the straight sleeve option, just because I think it'd be really nice and flowy that way. And this yarn is like super nice, super fluffy, and feel like it would just look nice with the yarn. Speaking of yarn, the yarn I'm using for this is Camellia Fiber Co. Somme DK in the colorway New York. Really, really pretty. I think this is my first time using a Camellia Fiber yarn, and so this overall just been like pretty exciting because of that. I did get this yarn from one of our like friend yarn swaps, I think this year. So it's kind of fun that I actually am using some yarn that I got from my friends, which is really nice. Oh, the other thing that I did was I did do the neckline for this. You just pick it up, and it is like I think it's a rolled. That's the effect going for it. It's a rolled neckline, and I think some people don't like that. I don't mind it at all. I think it, as long as it looks like it matches the rest of the design of the sweater, then I enjoy it, and I think it looks really nice that way. And so yeah, one feature that I'm just really, really liking, just looking at it every time, especially now that I'm working on the sleeve, are the like eyelets that are left open here around between the sleeve and the body. I just think it just looks, at first, I'm going to be honest, I was like, oh, does that make it like unsteady for the sleeve, because it just seems like it's hanging on by like threads. But it really doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's going to like rip off. And it's just a really nice feature added to it, I think. And I think it makes it look really cute. This yarn feels wonderful. It is great to work with. It's nice and light. It's really soft. It's really fluffy. It drapes really nice. Oh, the one thing that I did notice though, I think this is a blown construction yarn. It has a lot of halo on it. It makes it really soft. It's really nice. But when I'm winding this up on my yarn winder, the fluff flies everywhere. The fluff just like, it's just flying off of the thing, which I think is kind of funny. But yeah, I just make sure that my water cup isn't like right by me when I'm winding this yarn, because it'll just end up all in there. But yeah, that is like the one thing about the yarn I wanted to mention. Doesn't bother me, but it is something I've noticed, and I wanted to share that observation with you all. But yeah, it's been a great yarn. I'm just like really excited to see how warm this is, because I feel like I guess I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like, this gauge is really large, and so maybe that would make it a lot more airy to wear, like, because there's just bigger gaps between the yarn. But this yarn is also pretty fluffy, and so it could also feel warm. Like, if you're a little sweaty, it might stick to you, like all of the fluff on it, but it also feels pretty lightweight. So yeah, again, I'm just like curious, how is this going to feel when worn? I mean, I felt like my Doppio sweaters, because there's so much yarn held together, and it is worked at a really big gauge though, so this is what makes me think this might feel the same way, is that even though it's like the dope, at least the ones I've done, it's like 2 fingering weight plus the Sari or something like that, like 3 strands, I can still wear it like pretty, even when it's not that cold, you know. It's breathable, however that works. And so I kind of have the feeling that this might be the same case with this. But it's looking cute now. It's looking like a sweater. Actually, it looks like a really cute like crop t-shirt right now, like this, which maybe you could also do and make it that way. But yeah, I actually have not tried this on yet. I probably should try it on now that the body is on some barber cords, and that I'm working on the sleeve. I should probably try it on and see how it feels. Maybe I'll do that sometime this week. But yeah, it just feels really nice. Nice to work with. The yarn, happy with it. I like the color. Yeah, overall great. Oh, and it is, yeah, nice to work on this pattern because it is on my Make 9. I realized actually 3 of my projects right now are all on my Make 9 because I'm really trying to like get that done. But it's exciting because that means I'm like working on my goals this year. So this was, yeah, my Mark at Henley was the other one that's on my Make 9. So I have my Mark at Henley, my Metropolitan Pullover, and then the last project, is this like it? Yeah, the last project I have to talk about is the one that I worked on the absolute most this past week. And it's also on my Make 9, which is great. And I am almost done with it. I did talk about it last week, but this is the Vila cardigan by Marzena. And I preview knit this for Woolberry. And normally for the preview knits, Bethany would want these done at least by or like on the day of when the collection releases, or not done, maybe like 75% done or 50% done, depending on how early she can get us the yarn before the collection releases. But this time, because she ran into some timing issues with like getting the yarn and all of that, and she couldn't get the yarn out to us in time, she just said, you know, if all you can do is post a picture of the yarn by the collection release date, then that's totally fine. There were no expectations this time, and she just told us to enjoy the yarn. But I wanted to challenge myself and see how much of this cardigan I could get done by the collection release. And so I got this yarn last Friday, and so I've had this yarn for like a week and a day, and I'm honestly shocked at how much I've got done on this. The yarn that I got, by the way, is because I should talk about the yarn, is Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Sport. So it's a sport weight, her sport weight base in the colorway Cool Breeze, and I got 4 total skeins to make this cardigan, and I am now on my 4th skein. And as you can see from the last time we've talked, I have finished both sleeves. The sleeves, I think, are the best part about this cardigan. And I am now working on the ribbing for the body. And the body does have, it might be like 2.5 inches or 3 inches of ribbing or something. So I have a little bit more to go, but I am, like, this is it. This is the last part of the cardigan. The button band, or like where the buttons are worked at the same time. It's an I-cord edging, and so I don't have to go back and pick that up. Oh, I did do, I think that there was like the neck I-cord that needed to get done separately, but I did that right before working on the sleeves. So that's all done. I can just show you the back. I mean, it's all over stockinette knitting. But yeah, I just can't believe how much of this I got done. I guess it just shows, like, you know, if I was a monogamous knitter, I could probably get a sweater done in like 2 weeks. Like every 2 weeks, like a new sweater, if I just worked on one at a time. But I can't. I have to work on little things here and there. But yeah, wow, amazed myself that I got this much done in a week. It's crazy. I do want to I want to put my hand through this. The sleeves, there are decreases on the sleeves throughout, but it does There's rapid decreases right at the wrist. There's some ribbing, and then you do some like major increases to get this really nice ruffle right at the top. The ruffle is done in a rib, but I think because there's so many stitches and it's squished, it kind of almost looks like it's, I mean, I don't know. From far away, it doesn't look like it screams, ooh, the ruffle was done in a 1x1 rib. But I think it's really cute. It's really delicate, and I love it. And I think it goes so nicely with the light blue color of this yarn. And so I'm overall just like really happy with how this turned out. Tried it on. It fits nice. And I was a little nervous. I mean, I felt pretty confident, but I never feel 100% confident about, you know, choices for some things. But I did get a sport weight yarn for this, and the pattern calls for a fingering plus a fluff, which usually translate to DK weight, but I just had a feeling because I have knit, and I mentioned this before, but I have knit something from Marzena before, and I just feel like her gauge is pretty tight, or that the yarn she uses is of a slightly lighter weight than the one that I have for substitute. So the yarn combination she used for her version was a Knitting for Olive, like the fingering weight merino, I believe, plus the Knitting for Olive mohair, which I think all are very lightweight yarn. Gauge-wise and held together probably does equal maybe like a sport weight and not so much like a DK weight, but her gauge is also pretty tight. I feel like she might be a tight knitter, but because my gauge on this was just a little big, just a little bit, and so I was like, sport weight was the right choice. If I went with DK weight, I think all the stitches would feel pretty dense, and the ruffle might not have been as like nice and delicate looking and you know, like wavy. So really happy with the choice for this. So if you're looking for a non-fluff version of this cardigan, I think sport weight is the way to go. But again, you know, gauge swatching is always probably will give you the best indication for how your final fabric is going to feel. But I do very much like how this is feeling and how this is coming up. The fronts of this, it's hard to see because they are rolling in, but this is not a v-neck cardigan. It is like a rounded neck cardigan, and it's actually goes, the roundness is not as like high as the shirt that I'm wearing right now. It's actually a lot more open, but it is round and not a v-neck. And then there's going to be a total of eight buttons that go along here, and you can kind of see how they're spaced out here. So you make the buttonholes as you're knitting the rest of the body, and so you do kind of have to plan out in advance if you want to make any modifications to the length of the cardigan. You would either have to do it in kind of intervals of the buttons, like change, if you want only 8 buttons and you want to make it longer, you have to leave more space in between the buttons as you're working the body, or just add more buttonholes, right? So it is one thing you need to kind of like plan out pretty early on in the make of this, because you work the buttonholes as you work the whole body of the cardigan. But yeah, it is almost done. So like really I could get this done by next week if I don't feel burnt out about it. But I think because I'm so close on being done with the body, like I probably will just like knock it out pretty early on this week, hopefully with enough time to block it and have it dry. And the only thing is I have not tried to look for buttons for this yet, and so that could be like the hold up on this being completely finished, but that's not going to stop me from like, you know, washing and blocking it. It would be kind of nice to have this done soon, just because, you know, even though Bethany did not have finish requirements for us this time around for the preview knit, it would just be nice to share that with her and have the finished objects done. So yeah, I did not even talk about this collection that this preview knit was for. It's for Woolberry's Caboose 2.0 collection. This is like the animal caboose collection that she did, was it last year or was it 2 years ago? It was, I think, pretty successful. Her first round of it, I bought a lot of yarn from it, and I didn't even realize like how many knits I've already made with the caboose yarn from last time. And I did post that on my Instagram around maybe it was Wednesday or Thursday this past week, because I was like, look at all the, like, if you're I couldn't get this preview knit completely done in time for the Caboose 2.0 collection, but I had other finished objects with the yarn, some of the yarn that was coming back for 2.0 collection, and so I wanted to share that as well. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's Caboose 2.0. I think depending on capacity, I think it might still be open by the time this video comes out. But definitely check her website to see if it is, if you're interested. She basically brought back some of the more popular colorways from the Caboose collection, and then she came up with, I think, 3 more colorways for 2.0. This time around, I actually did buy some yarn from her collection because she also has a new base that came out, which is Cacao DK, and if you've followed me for a little bit, you'll maybe know that I am obsessed with Cacao. I first heard about this yarn base, which is it's from a sheep that is a merino, a rambouillet sheep. So the sheep itself is the mix of a merino rambouillet. It is not merino fiber plus rambouillet fiber and then, mix it together. It is like from the sheep. But I first heard about Cacao from Yarn Jam when she did the podcaster collection that I was a part of, and she made had spinning fiber that was Cacao. She also sells yarn that is Cacao yarn, and that's when I was like, ooh, Cacao. And I've since then, spun with Cacao a lot, knit a sweater in Cacao fiber that I've spun, and also Cacao yarn. And so the fact that Bethany Woolberry has Cacao yarn now, like hand-dyed yarn, also I was like very excited about. And so I did get some pasture from Woolberry, which is it is a light green color. I'm trying to pull the picture right now to see if I can like better describe this color, but it is like I would actually say, I think that it is actually very similar to this jacket that I'm wearing right now. It is like is sage green the right word? It's light pastel-y green that's almost like a neutral green, like a very wearable green, I feel like. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to, is this yarn, and I got it in the Cacao DK base from Woolberry. Got a sweater quantity for a sweater, and so I'm really excited for that. So that is what I got from Woolberry's Caboose 2.0 collection. If you got something from that collection, let me know if you want to share that with me as well. But yeah, so that was fun. That was a little bit of yarn shopping that I did this weekend, and yeah, almost done with this preview knit with some really pretty colored yarn and really pretty cardigan pattern. And I think, again, like, this is just going to be so nice in the spring, summer kind of weather, because, sport weight yarn, slightly lighter. It's not as heavy as a DK weight cardigan, so hopefully it'll be just a really nice thing to throw on over. And because it just has a very simple, like, stockinette design, but has that nice touch of the ruffle wrist, that I think it'll go on really nicely and match a lot of things. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited about all my knits, but it's really nice to have some big projects being very close to being done, because I want to cast on like 10 new projects soon, but I can't because I don't have enough needles. All my needles are in projects right now. Actually, there's projects I need to get back to that I haven't worked on in a few weeks now. So yeah, but I want to cast on like 10 more things right now. So I need to finish some projects. I'm knitting size 1 in that cardigan. I'm using US 5 needles, 3.75 millimeter needles to knit that. And yeah, get ready for some finished objects pretty soon. I'm hoping that it'll just be a rush of finished objects and then a rush of new cast-ons. But that is all. That is all I've worked on this past week, which I say that's all. It is kind of a lot. It's not like I only worked on like one project, even though for me it kind of just feels like I worked on one, because I really, most of my time, I want to say like 80% of my time has been working on the Vila cardigan. But it's looking great. And I'm very happy, very, very, very happy with it. And it's also exciting because, yeah, it's on my Make 9, so that means I can cross that one off the list pretty soon. It was my first preview knit for Woolberry, and so that's exciting. I'm hoping I can do another one soon. I mean, there's still a little more than half of the year left, and so I'm hoping I can do another preview knit for Woolberry, because that was pretty fun. She's nice, and I love I don't really post too much. We have a group chat of all the preview knitters, and I don't actually post myself, but I do love reading other people's posts, and liking people's pictures and seeing what they're working on. So it's just been overall like a really nice thing to be a part of. And yeah, I want to get more summer knits on my needles right now, because I think most of what I have are like long sleeve things, shawls, yeah, sweaters. So maybe a summer cast on pretty soon. Oh, speaking of summer cast ons, I did do some yarn. I did do some more yarn buying this weekend. I bought some yarn from Sewrella's, I think it was Summer in London collection, because I have this really cool idea. This idea came to me because Sewrella posted on Instagram. Well, this is where I get most of my knitting content, actually pretty much all my knitting content, but she posted some of the kits that she is having available, which is basically just yarn, but she has, samples done in these patterns. One knit, one crochet, and I really, really like the knit one. So the yarn is a cotton linen wool fingering weight yarn. It is new from Sewrella, and it sounds really nice and summery. And the tee design that she used for it is the Fleur tee by Woolberry Knits, and I think I saw it before, like while scrolling through Instagram, because the pattern has been out before, but I think that the designer maybe used some kind of like neutral color to make it, and I was like, oh, it's cute, but not really on like the top, didn't like go to the top of my list of things to make like immediately. But then when I saw the version that was knit for Ashley of Sewrella in the color, although I'm not planning on making the same color, but just seeing it in a color that I like more than just like a neutral like brown or something, I was like, oh, it is so cute, and I really want to try this new base. So that was a long story to just say my idea for this top is I want to make 3 of them, and I want to be matching, although different colors, but I want to make one for me, my sister, and my mom. And I feel like that would be kind of like really cool, because I've been wanting to make them something. And I know my mom watches this podcast, so hi Mom. I've been wanting to make, my mom and my sister something for a while, and I always think about it, but it's hard because they live in Hawaii, so it's always hot. Never gets cool enough to like wear a sweater, and I really mostly knit sweaters. There's, I have made, this is a tank top that I'm wearing, the stripy turtle tank, but again, like, the other problem is, like, even though it's a tank top, it still is kind of warm because it's also very humid in Hawaii, and so wearing wool, like, I'm mostly okay with it. Like, I will bring some of my wool tank tops to Hawaii and it'll be fine, but I think for my sister and my mom, it still would be too hot and feel kind of sticky and kind of, like, a little uncomfortable. And so the fact that now they're, like, want to experiment and find more summery yarn bases, and so I think, like, a cotton linen wool blend hopefully will be nice and breathable and not too warm, doesn't, stick to the skin too much when it gets humid or hot. So I'm hoping it all works out. So I did buy 3 kits of that yarn from Sewrella, and I'm planning on knitting 3 matching tees in 3 different colors. And I, of course, picked the pink color. I did get, I'm looking up right now what the color names were. I, for myself, am going to make the Queen Mary's Rose Garden colorway. It is the pink colorway tonal. And then my mom wanted the Oxford colorway, which is like a really dark blue gray. And then my sister wanted Daunt Books, which is a dark green colorway in this collection. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. I know that this is going to take, because it's a pre-order collection, it's going to take, I think, like up to 2 months to get the yarn, but I'm excited for this idea. It is a fingering weight top though, so it might take me a very long time to knit them, and the fact that I need to knit 3 of them might be interesting to see if I get like tired of knitting the same pattern. But I'm hoping that the idea of the 3 of us matching will keep me going on this and would be really nice presents for them. I will say, I mean, my goal is to get them done by the end of this year, so it might be their Christmas presents. I am hoping that I can give it to them like in person, see them, and we can take some really cute matching pictures together. So that's the idea I have in my head, and yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope it works out nicely. It's going to be a little difficult I'm a little nervous. I get nervous about knitting garments for other people because I'm nervous that it's not going to fit, because they're not there to try it on as I go, especially like lengthwise, because length can be very, people like different lengths on them, and so it's going to be me asking them a lot, just like, can you measure this, or what length would you like, how's this length, like, and just over video chat, so I hope it works out well, but I'm really excited for the idea of when they're all done. But yeah, so that's some of the yarn shopping that I've been doing. I know I've been trying to be good on the yarn shopping, but when I got this idea in my head, I really, really wanted to do it, and so that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so those are my, a little more in the future project plans. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, yeah, and I'm hoping that by then, before that yarn comes in, I get to use a lot more yarn in my stash, and so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, because I have a little more time to talk about things, because I had less knitting things to talk about. Also, no spinning updates. I spun a little bit on my sweater spin, but not enough to it was only spun half an ounce of fiber, and so nothing really looks any different on my sweater spin, but I'm hoping to spin a little bit more this coming week. But in other news, I want to redecorate my craft room. I don't know how yet, but I think after having it in the configuration that I've had for months now, I realize it's not quite what I want. So I want to do some rearranging. I already rearranged some, my work desk, which is actually kind of the only thing I moved, basically. But I just want to see if I liked it where it is, and I want to move the yarn cabinet behind me. I want to move it somewhere else. I'm not totally sure. I just feel like everything looks a little bit cluttered behind me and not organized. So I want to move it. I don't know where yet, but if in the coming months things start to look a little different and moved around, that is why. But I'm still thinking. And I think for me, I have I'm very indecisive, and so for some reason in my head, I just think if I put that there, then it's permanent, even though it's not, right? I can always move things, but I don't want to, I feel like I don't want to go through the effort of taking all of my yarn out of the cabinet, moving it, putting it all back in, and then being I want to move it immediately. So I'm trying to think through it all first, but then I get overwhelmed. So a lot of thinking and ideas have been in my brain, but I'm hoping within the next couple months I will actually move some furniture around, because that's what I want to do. I want to make this room look and feel cozy and cute and not messy and disorganized, even though I know where everything is for the most part. And there's a lot more of this room you don't see, and I don't plan on showing you because it is a mess. It's a mess. I have almost no standing space around me. Everything is on the floor. And I have a lot of empty walls in some areas. So yeah, I just want to do some of that. But also, part of me is but if I do that, spend time doing that, that means less time knitting. It's always comes down to but then there's less time to knit. But I know that if I change the space to be something that I like better, that it'll make me overall a lot happier. So it's probably worth some of that sacrificing of knitting time. But yeah, I am looking forward to having a 3-day weekend. No work on Monday. Again, I'm hoping to have that be a relaxing day. I don't want to like pack it with too many things, but maybe go out and, I don't know, eat some yummy food somewhere. Not just on Monday, but maybe I had sushi today. That was nice. Maybe eat out somewhere tomorrow too. Maybe do some, you know, the weather's been nice. I think it's going to be nice this weekend. And so, I don't know, look at my plants in the yard. I don't really do yard work. But I have some plants and some flowers that I'm looking forward to blooming. Maybe go to like the plant nursery this weekend and get some plants that we've been waiting for the weather to be warmer before we start planting in the garden. So that should be pretty fun, I think. But yeah, do you have fun plans this weekend? Or are you just chilling, just relaxing? I also just love weekends of doing nothing and having nothing planned, because sometimes I just need that. I just need to do nothing. And I really, really enjoy that. But I know some people don't like to do that. It's really funny because me and my sister are complete opposites. I love to stay home and do nothing, and my sister just can't stand it. She needs to just be out and doing something. She has to always be doing something. So yeah, we're just very opposites that way. But yeah, let me know if you have plans this weekend, if you have fun plans, or you have just like chilling at home plans. What are you working on? What are you knitting? Love to know. I need some pattern ideas. Oh, I do have a I guess request, kind of, sort of. I am trying to find I'm trying to find a sock pattern for my June socks, and I think I'm leaning towards just doing like a plain sock, but with a fish lips kiss. Yeah, is that what it's called? That heel. Fish lips kiss heel. And I think that there's just like one pattern that is just like the heel instructions, but if you know of other patterns that use that heel, I would love to take a look at it and see. I think my next yarn for my June socks is a very, very variegated yarn, so I don't really want to have like a cabled or like super busy like stitch pattern, because it's going to get lost in the really variegated yarn. It's something simple, either stockinette or like a ribbed sock pattern with the fish lips kiss heel. Or I'll just, I can just do the stockinette one. But I don't know why I'm like a little confused on what that heel is. I don't think I've ever done it. And so anyway, that is just, if you know more about it, or if you have like video tutorials on what it is, I guess, again, I can look it up. But if you have like a favorite, or you love knitting that heel, let me know for your sock knitting. But yeah, I think that's it now. I think that's it. Yeah, thank you so much. I know the past few weeks have been a bit shorter, I think, kind of, sort of, on the video length, but I hope that you're still enjoying the podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit sparse on the knitting updates and like no spinning updates, but yeah, let me know. Update me on what's going on with you and your knitting, or yeah, any recent yarn buys, any fiber buys. I'm just, yeah, I'm feeling now that this time of year is like pretty busy in other things, other activities, just because it is like nice weather outside. It means a lot more kind of like garden stuff, house projects that can kind of only be done when the weather's nice. And not when it's like all rainy, which is most of the year. So my knitting time might be a little bit less in the coming few months, I think, but I'm still enjoying it. And yeah, I hope that it doesn't get too boring on the podcast. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good where I'm at. Really happy I got my crochet cardigan done. I just can't wait to wear it. I'm so excited to sew on the buttons. I think it'll be really, really, really cute. and I'm hoping to get a lot of wear out of it. I really try to push wearing my sweaters to like the max of like temperature wise. Like, might be too hot to start, you know, wear beanies now, but I also kind of like do that just because I want to wear my knit things as long as possible. And I also get cold pretty easily, so, you know, I can wear long sleeve things for pretty long into the summer months, I feel like. But yeah, if you have some like fun, exciting summer knits that you're planning on knitting, let me know too, because I need to like do some like inspiration looking of like patterns. There are definitely patterns I want to knit. I might have just like forgotten about it, so refresh me up on some cool summer knits too, if you have any. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great weekend. If you have a long weekend, hope you have a great long weekend. And even if you don't, I hope you have a great weekend anyway. Great week. And I'll see you all in next week's video. Bye.